Johannes from Central Valley Ag is our marketing analyst this week. Rain on Monday put a halt to combining for many farmers in the eastern section of Nebraska. We talked with Wade at CVA's East Hub in Oakland Wednesday afternoon and started by asking about the harvest progress in northeast Nebraska.
Well, here in northeast Nebraska, we're probably about 2/3 done on soybeans. Had a really nice rain on Monday, and then so we'll have a few days off here to kind of catch our breath. But corn pretty much just getting started, 10–15%, I'd say.
What do the numbers look like?
A lot better than what people thought. Generally speaking, soybeans and corn are better than anyone expected.
Can you get a feel for what the size of this crop looks like across the country? I mean, obviously there aren't any USDA reports, so it probably makes it hard.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but just going off of the latest USDA numbers from September, a 155 average yield in corn, 41 in soybeans, those are going to come up. And so the big question is, when the USDA is going to come out with their next numbers, and then how much are they going to jump those yield estimates. But, it's going to be a record crop in corn. Could be 14 billion bushels for soybeans, 3.1, 3.2, somewhere in there. So a very solid crop, a lot better than what we were thinking just a month ago.
In corn, do you think we've reached a point where maybe this is a floor, or do you think there's a little ways further to go?
It would be nice, Jeff, but the thing is we're going so long before the USDA updates us with their estimates, and if they come out with a big surprise like a 160 average yield, a 5 bushel jump, it's going to drop some more, and that is a possibility just hearing yield estimates across the country.
Do you think this market is capable of handling? I mean, this is a huge crop, the biggest crop we've ever seen in corn, and the demand market has probably been shaved off a little bit after the drought last year. Is it capable of generating something to get around 5 again?
It is possible. It's going to depend on how low we go here this fall. And then, you look at the 3 buckets of demand in terms of corn. Exports, we're here in China sniffing around and buying corn here this week. So we expect that to pick up. Livestock, we haven't seen these prices at harvest in 3 to 4 years. So livestock will definitely load up. And then ethanol is making very good money right now. So they have all the incentive in the world to keep grinding.
Set aside the EPA stuff that I mentioned in the news, the market for ethanol over the next few months here looks pretty bright.
Yeah, the numbers, supply and demand, look really good, and so there's all the incentive in the world to keep grinding, and so that's a great reason to be optimistic. It might take a few months to get there, but next spring, next summer, hopefully we can get back to the $5 level.
When you look at that futures market and you see that December corn contract for 2014 is somewhere around 40 cents higher than December of this year, what does that tell you? How do you read into that?
Well, the thing we need to remember is that the cost of production is going down for the 2014 crop. Now, there are some individual cases where cash rents are a little bit higher, so that's a general statement. But looking at the cost of production, it's going to be cheaper to raise corn this year than it did 2 years ago if you're in rotation. So that 480, 485 level locks in a pretty good profit for 2014.
What about for this year? For cash and basis, figuring those things in, if you got around what level would you try to be aggressive in selling?
Well, it depends what you've done so far, and we encourage guys to make earlier sales because it takes pressure off of being here at harvest and having 0% sold. So if you had earlier sales on, then you don't feel the pressure to make an all or nothing type sale decision. But even with the levels we're at around 450 futures, there's still profit there for most operations, just if you're 0% sold and looking at the size of production for 2013 crop.
Do you feel there's a possibility for beans to get above 13, whether it be on cash or maybe in the futures contracts as well?
I think there's going to be a post-harvest bump. I think it probably be short-lived though, so I'd be taking advantage of a 50–60 cent rally in soybeans and just cashing out, moving on to next year.
That South American news is bound to come at some point.
That's right. It's hanging over us, and it's going to take a major weather crisis to get the market concerned about their crop this year.
What does the export market look like for soybeans right now?
It's picking up again. Here the last couple of weeks, even with the USDA being away from the desk, they have been picking up, and that's a seasonal trend. But here through the end of the year, they're saying that we could possibly export as many as 700 million bushels of soybeans, which we're going to need to see in terms of demand.
Give me an idea of what basis looks like here for corn first off.
Well, everything was historically very strong going into harvest, and now that harvest is getting underway, on corn, you know, it's hanging in there, but soybeans, we're starting to see that drop a little bit, and depending on how quickly the corn crop comes at us this fall, we could see that back off as well.
Any rebound then once you get into maybe November, December timeframe?
Typically, you know, once the bin doors shut, that's when we see that snap in basis.